translate 2 of the 5 Marc Jacobs brand values into languages that resonate on the platform. Utilizing the tote bag as a canvas, these values were expressed in the most creative and kept across your entire upper and lower funnel ecosystem. The landscape of attention has changed. We all know that consumers are exposed to an overwhelming amount of information, content, and experiences from all sides. As a result of this constant input, the average attention span has decreased by a dramatic 69% in the last 20 years. However, the speed at which the human brain processes information has dramatically increased. It takes us just 0.4 seconds to see and register a positive or negative response to a mobile ad. But that requires a higher frequency of exposure, and thus, repetition is key. This has created a profound shift. We see that cumulative attention across many bite-sized pieces of content is more impactful than continuous attention of a single long-form piece of content. And accumulating this short burst of attention works across the funnel, from driving 23% lower cost per ad recall lift to being 21% more impactful at driving sales. So brands need to start shifting to a 1-second strategy. And this data clearly backs up what we have known for a while. Creativity is revolutionizing. Today, it's not just about planning campaigns. It's about crafting experiences that spark conversations, inspire communities, and drive real impact. Are you ready to rethink your approach and unlock the full potential of creative storytelling for your brand? AI has undeniably changed marketing. Staying at the forefront means embracing cutting-edge technology to achieve what humans cannot. The most successful brands are embracing AI and releasing long-held silos within marketing organizations across media, creative, and data. How to build brand equity and consistency whilst designing for multiple surfaces, social discovery, and automatic iteration. Today, millions of iterations are done across targeting, bidding, and creative to discover the one that works best for your business. Whilst AI is constantly producing new connections, new insights, and greater business outcomes, your brand creative is at the center of it. This is why it's essential to consider the creative strategy you're adopting as it impacts your distribution. It's a new era for marketing that requires mindset shifts for marketers. Meta Advantage allows businesses to choose to automate part or all of their campaigns to improve performance. It collapses the traditional marketing funnel. There are many areas that are much easier for machines to get right. Countless permutations. Millions of iterations are done across targeting, bidding, and creative to discover the one that works best for your business. Split-second personalization. 1 second is the time it takes AI to match the right message with the most relevant people. Predictive analysis. AI can anticipate trends and consumer behaviors to unlock unexpected audiences. Today's most successful marketers are reimagining the entire marketing ecosystem, embracing multiplicity and fluidity at every step. The traditional funnel is collapsing. The lines between performance and brand marketing are blurring, creating a seamless experience for consumers. Marketers are harnessing high-quality data and cutting-edge AI solutions to connect with people wherever they are in real time and with relevance. It's all about designing a system of connected campaigns, where every touchpoint works together, amplifying impact and driving both brand love and measurable results. We are going to discuss 3 mindset shifts to creating brand campaign that will allow you to maximize the impact of your campaign with automation. The first major shift is to replace the hero video by a system of ideas. AI connects your brand to multiple surfaces across our platforms, and to maximize your impact and relevance to the context of the surface, you need to design a system of ideas that match different types of attention and diverse motivations. When creative is similar, our system may not recognize it as different and therefore might deliver it to the same sets of audiences. Creative diversification. is having a variety of ad formats, visual direction, and messages in your campaign. Creative diversification drives increased efficiency and incremental reach. It's an essential component to creative effectiveness in a world where marketing is powered by AI. Consistent and coherent branding doesn't mean homogeneous. By designing for multiple surfaces, your campaign gains in effectiveness. In this Louis Vuitton campaign, the brand builds a system of ideas designed for each surface with more or less product presence, or more or less details about their partnership with world-renowned artist Yayoi Kusama. This Cornetto campaign was designed to create awareness and preference and build a relatable campaign to catch 18 to 24 years old attention. The idea you have got a message from the stars is detailed through a system of ideas across foundational formats and multipliers around the love of astrology for this audience. We started with the product itself and built a user journey with video ads, Reels ads, interactive stories, IG direct experience, a full system of ideas all within the same concept of love astrology. Longer brand stories can be harder to tell on Meta. We now offer the possibility to leverage AI for sequencing and target frequency with Meta Storyteller. This allows brands to tell a sequenced story across multiple brand chapters in the right order, improving exposure of full set of brand chapters for campaign audience. The second shift is the importance to originate from culture and not translate from other channels. AI is also the weaver of culture, and at any point in time, your brand is a moment in a sequence of content that comes from creators, friends, families, publishers, and so on. Understanding the language of now is essential to create resonance. How to build long-term equity while creating brand campaigns with the language of now? Identify and leverage brand control elements born from the platform to power relatability, maintain equity, and accelerate effectiveness. Being seen in different lights is an opportunity to resonate with more people. New research shows how semiotic, visually dynamic, and atmospheric cues have a disproportionate impact on brand effectiveness. Through the use of AI machine learning and Kantar sales analysis, a groundbreaking study from Meta, CreativeX, and Kantar uncovers surprising new learnings on what will drive creative effectiveness for brand. It offers creative and brand teams guidance through data on not only what creative works, but also how it works, breaking some commonly held perceptions. The brand vibe that we create goes much further than just sitting in the background and making its mark in a passive way. Our study tells us that this is working much more actively. You can create a distinct personality for your brand and stick with it for several campaigns and several years. We moved a traditional bank to embrace lo-fi and audio trends to introduce the athletes and motivate the nation to achieve their goals. From mobile-first feed and stories assets to authentic reels to trending audio and UGC, all cohesive around the same brand idea and sound. Reels ads with both music and voiceover show a 15-point statistically significant higher average positive response score than those without sound. Reels creative that featured audio brand cues showed a statistically significant higher average positive response by plus 22 points than ads without audio brands cues. Storytelling is evolving fast, and telling a story can be creating an atmosphere, a vibe, without necessarily using traditional story arcs. Another creative semiotic language that originates from culture is animation. The distinctive atmosphere you create for your brand becomes a supercharged shortcut to identify your brand. Marc Jacobs was eager to tap into creators' creative expertise in platform language to breathe new life into the tote bag, capturing the attention of a youthful, diverse, and socially savvy audience to ignite their desire and get them talking about it. We invited 8 different creators ranging from those more lifestyle-focused to masters of the art of craft. Their task was to visually translate 2 of the 5 Marc Jacobs brand values into languages that resonate on the platform. Utilizing the tote bag as a canvas, these values were expressed in the most creative and captivating ways, each interpretation reflecting the creator's unique style. All the assets were used as ads and posted on creators' account. In this example, L'Oreal create a branded atmosphere with a consistent color palette that is the brand color palette, and an audio track. This example uses the language of now without compromising on brand equity. The third shift is changing creative production processes to see creative and media as one, working together and using platform as strategic playground rather than a channel. Creative and AI open millions of opportunities for your brand to connect. When creative is similar, our system may not recognize it as different, and therefore might deliver it to the same sets of audiences. Creative diversification has been shown to drive increased efficiency and incremental reach. It's an essential component to creative effectiveness, but it brings the question of creative production and solutions available for marketers to create assets while keeping total ROI efficient. In this section, we will discuss solutions that exist to set up creative operations that can be applied. Gen AI, whether on platform with Ads Manager, with Meta AI, or with external partners, like we see in the example here, you can generate diversified creative at low cost. 2 questions. What exactly to create through AI versus what to create manually? Here is another example, creating branded diverse assets with background generated with an AI solution. Creative and media can no longer be seen apart. They work together against the outcomes that you determine. Here is a brilliant example from Coca-Cola France for their Paris 2024 Olympics sponsorship, where people were invited to play through their app to win tickets for the Olympics. This is a full funnel campaign with Reels first creative that speaks the language of now. A Meta Advantage campaign was phased to maximize awareness and app downloads. Now, let's move from the upper funnel to a systematic approach for diversifying and scaling lower funnel creative. With the rise of AI, content is flooding all over feeds every day. To stand out from the noise, brands need to know their existing or potential consumers' pain points. Even performance creative needs to feel appealing. What makes consumers tick? What motivates them? If motivators are the why, then diversification is the how. Because reaching more people with what matters to them means we can't show up with just one message, one visual, or one format. We need to diversify our creative across visuals, messaging, and placements to reflect the different ways people connect across our platform. Some of your audience need reassurance, some want inspiration, and some need proof. Creative diversification at the lower funnel let us speak to all of them across placements, moments, and mindsets. Every business has a distinct personality, and you need to leverage yours as the connective tissue to harness fragmentation and drive both connection and conversion. There's a wide range of brand cues you can use to strengthen recognition, drive action, and create emotional connections in your campaigns. Here is a comprehensive overview of the most effective brand cues categorized into visual, audio, and messaging. Visual cues include your logo, brand colors, typography, packaging, and the faces of your brand. Example, mascot and spokespersons. Audio cues feature jingles, sonic logos, or mnemonic and voiceovers. Messaging cues encompass your taglines, product value proposition, call to action, and storytelling. This slide shows 4 ways to use visual cues effectively. One option is to lead with your logo. As seen in this catalog example from the luxury brand Michael Kors, which features a branded frame. Early and prominent logo placement drive instant recognition. Paint It brand. In these 2 examples, the Australian supermarket chain Coles and the Danish jewelry brand Pandora are both leveraging their unique color palette and typography to stand out. Showcase the product. If you have a physical product, feature it to maximize impact, as the Korean food brand Bibigo does. Character spotlight. If you have a spokesperson, mascot, founder, or recurring characters in your ads, use them as visual shortcuts to instantly connect with your audience. We will then explore 2 ways to use audio cues effectively. Hear the brand. Short, distinctive sounds create lasting brand associations while driving performance. In this example, the ice cream brand Magnum plays with its sonic mnemonic, the sound of the Magnum crackling. Throughout the campaign, they used the distinctive crackling sound of the Magnum ice cream as a consistent ASMR element, while diversifying it with different hooks and visual storytelling styles, such as POV. Tune into your brand. A catchy jingle reinforces your message and boosts recall. For its Leaner Moves campaign, fashion brand Gap partnered with 2 creators to modernize its rich heritage of dance, music, and movement. They used Jungle's viral song Back on 74. Retail brand Boyner designed a reusable track to deliver their main message. These are all on Boyner Online through their campaign with creators. This original audio was based on the reuse macro trend of showing, not telling. Now, let's explore different ways to leverage messaging cues. Create stories that stick. Use storytelling to turn your brand message into a compelling journey. For example, food delivery platform Uber Eats used different creative assets to showcase its UK brand creative platform. When you have done enough highlighting, the service as a reward for daily exhaustion. Put value front and center. Highlight clear, compelling benefits to turn interest into action. The automotive brand Acura worked with 2 unique creators. One, a mother focused on family and lifestyle content, and the other, a cinematographer focused on craft. Each creator showed how the ZDX car fits seamlessly into their lives and activities from completely different perspectives. Let your tagline echo across every touch point for maximum impact. Fashion brand H&M did this in its global summer campaign, leveraging the overall concept of Find Your Beach. But what if you need to balance your own brand with those of other companies? Take Marketplace, JD Sports as an example. They had to balance selling their own products while selling other brands' products. They created a diverse range of interchangeable branded hooks, body content, and creator content, subtly but persistently leveraging their logo and colors. This increased creative diversification, enabling them to convey multiple messages for their many products during the critical winter sale period. It's important to call out that we are not suggesting you have to build net new creative. You can start small with your existing creative and work your way up. I love this example. A beauty advertiser who our team recently partnered with to help up-level their existing creative assets to achieve creative diversification for their upcoming Advantage Plus campaign. We shared a few low-lift creative solutions and some light tweaks to their existing creative assets, as you can see here on the left. They were able to confidently take those recommendations and apply them to numerous other existing assets. This helped them start building creative that ensured they were reaching the right audience. Here is a creative cheat sheet to help you, a menu to guide you in ideating and developing new high-performing and engaging creative content. Remember the importance of diversification? This menu provides a systematic approach to it. You can see various categories such as dramatize the problem, the absurd alternative, emphasize the solution, or concepts like teaser hook and on trend like FOMO. The goal here is not to use all of them, but to use this menu as a starting point. Choose a concept that aligns with your product or campaign objective, and use it to brainstorm new hooks. This is how you ensure your creative is speaking the language of now and reaching a wider audience across our platform. Dramatize the need of your product. To captivate your audience, it is essential to underscore the urgency and significance of the problem your product addresses. This can be achieved by illustrating the profound frustrations and potential consequences of inaction. A powerful approach is to envision and articulate the most extreme manifestation of the need, thereby creating a compelling case for your solution. For instance, consider the compelling narrative crafted by Under Outfit and Calmingo, which effectively dramatize the challenges their products overcome. Show an absurd alternative. A highly effective technique involves presenting a blatantly absurd or inefficient alternative to your product, thereby highlighting its unique value proposition. By showcasing the disadvantages of this unconventional approach, you can underscore the necessity and superiority of your solution. This method is exemplified by brands like EasyPlant and Hero, who masterfully employ contrast to emphasize their product's efficacy. The element of surprise. To command attention, consider employing an element of surprise by presenting your product or the consumer experience in an unexpected and unconventional manner. The goal is to create a memorable and thought-provoking moment that challenges norms and captures the viewer's imagination. This can be achieved by introducing a taboo or out-of-the-ordinary scenario, as demonstrated by Tailored Brands and Nibble. Eliciting authentic responses. Showcasing genuine consumer reactions is a powerful tool for building rapport and relatability, whether the response is humorous, skeptical, or enthusiastic. Its authenticity is paramount. Consider prompting reactions by presenting the product advertisement itself, capturing the unboxing experience, or posing the question, how would it feel to experience this product for the first time? This approach, as utilized by MyHeritage, fosters a sense of connection and trust within the audience. Dynamic visual storytelling. Elevate your presentation through the sophisticated use of motion and transitional effects. By thoughtfully integrating visual dynamics, you can capture and maintain viewer engagement. Consider using transitions to illustrate a clear progression, such as before and after, problem to solution, or manipulating video speed and filters to create a compelling narrative, like Core App and Kidderman, provide excellent examples of how to employ motion to enhance storytelling. Engaging through humor. Strategic use of humor can be a highly effective method for capturing immediate attention. The key is to be concise, clever, and culturally relevant. Incorporate popular digital formats and meme-inspired language to create entertaining and shareable introductions. Brands like Under Outfit and EasyPlant have successfully utilized this approach to create memorable and engaging content. Cultivating trust through inquiry. Addressing consumer skepticism head-on can be a powerful strategy for building trust and credibility. By acknowledging and exploring common doubts, you can create a more relatable and transparent brand image. Phrases such as, "Does this product actually deliver on its promise?" or "Is it worth the investment?" can be used to frame narrative that validates consumer concerns before presenting a compelling case for your product. Headway effectively employs this technique to foster a sense of authenticity and build rapport with its audience. Harness social momentum. Leverage the power of social proof to create a sense of desirability and urgency around your product. By showcasing positive reviews, user-generated content, and widespread enthusiasm, you can cultivate a fear of missing out and encourage adoption. Phrases like, "Discover what everyone is talking about," or "This product is trending for a reason," can be used to amplify social momentum. Under Outfit and Flycatcher Toys have masterfully harnessed this strategy to drive engagement and sales. Engaging through dialogue. Elevate your brand's narrative by framing your product as the answer to a pressing question. By converting a consumer need into a direct inquiry, you can create a more engaging and conversational tone. Research common customer questions and use them as a springboard for your pitch. This approach, as demonstrated by Micah, fosters a sense of authentic connection, and positions your brand as a trusted resource. Leveraging expert endorsements. Establish immediate credibility and trust by incorporating expert endorsements into your narrative. By featuring a recognized authority figure to champion your product, you can significantly enhance its perceived value and efficacy. Consider opening with a powerful testimonial such as, "Having evaluated numerous options in this category, I can confidently say this is the premier choice." This technique, as employed by Core App and Master School, is a highly effective way to build brand authority and inspire consumer confidence. Upon understanding the motivations and emotions that prompt audience engagement, brands can translate these insights into a framework of creative concepts that effectively highlight the unique selling propositions of the product or service. As we conclude our creative webinar, I would like to leave you with two key considerations. A truly resilient brand strategy operates on parallel tracks. One grounded in immediate high-impact execution, and the other anchored in a deliberate, forward-looking vision for what the brand must become. The driving questions are deceptively simple, yet profoundly strategic. What can I do today, and what should I plan for tomorrow?
Hi everyone, my name is Crystal. I'm an account manager on the ANZ Meat Market team, where I work with advertisers across Australia and New Zealand to help them drive growth for their businesses. So Edward has walked us through why creative diversification matters. Now, let's talk about what happens next. Once you've built that creative library, how do you actually structure and optimize it inside your ad account for the best results? And that's exactly what we'll be covering today. We understand that while creative is the number one lever you have for driving performance, it's also the number one source of confusion for many advertisers. In a world where Meta's algorithm handles targeting, bidding, and delivery automatically, creative is now the primary variable you control. We hear the same questions all the time. When do I refresh my creatives? How many creatives are required per ad set? What's a good testing framework? And why is my CPA so high? Today, we're going to tackle these head on. We're going to answer your biggest Meta creative questions. We want you to walk away from this webinar with clarity and actionable strategies you can implement immediately in your accounts. Here is what we're covering today. We've broken this down into 4 core questions, providing clear and practical answers for each. First, we'll look at asset volume and structure, covering the optimal creative setup. Second, life cycle and refreshing, covering when to pause and spot fatigue. Third, testing frameworks, covering how to systematically test and scale. And finally, delivery and algorithm, understanding the mechanics behind how Meta spends your budget. Let's start with question 1. What is the optimal creative setup for an ad set? This is foundational, and getting it right really sets the stage for everything else we'll discuss today. When it comes to volume, formats, and visuals, the true goal here is diversification. For the longest time, Meta and the industry as a whole, we focused heavily on the sheer volume of creatives. It was easier to recommend uploading 10, 20, or even 50 creatives into a single ad set in the hopes that volume alone would result in diversification. But the landscape today has shifted. It is the quality and distinctiveness of your creatives that matter, not just the quantity. We are moving away from simply talking about volume. Instead, we want to emphasize the importance of having at least 5 visually distinct creative concepts. This doesn't mean 5 minor variations of the same video. It means 5 genuinely different ideas. For example, try pairing polished, brand-led assets along lo-fi UGC, product-focused shots, creator-crafted content, or animations. Alongside these distinct concepts, always aim for at least 3 different formats, mixing video and image assets, like a 9:16 video with audio, a 4:5 video, and a 1:1 image. And crucially, always ensure Advantage Plus placements are turned on, or manually select a minimum of 6 placements to give the algorithm the flexibility it needs to deliver your best concepts to the right people. Now, How should you structure these creatives across campaigns and ad sets? Meta has always recommended consolidation as the best practice, and for good reason. Keeping everything in one place boosts your budget and helps you exit the learning phase faster. However, there are times where distinct creative groups form, and it actually makes sense to separate them into their own ad sets or campaigns. This is to achieve a wider overall reach and to ensure these separate creative groups actually get their fair share of time in the auction without being cannibalized by other dominant creatives. To decide exactly when to consolidate and when to segment your creatives, it all comes down to the learning phase and your budget. Ad sets need about 50 conversions per week to exit this phase and stabilize performance. So calculate your required budget, which is your target CPA, multiplied by 50. If your budget is greater than or equal to that number, you have the financial fuel to segment. For example, splitting UGC and polished ads into separate ad sets. But if your budget is lower than that threshold, you must consolidate. Keep all creatives in one ad set. Splitting prematurely without the budget to support it will fragment your spend and keep you stuck in the learning phase, which could then cause volatility in your CPA. To make diversification easier, we can also leverage Advantage Plus Creative. These are quick wins that enhance your ads automatically without losing brand control. Flexible media automatically crops and adapts assets for different placements, like converting a 4x5 to 9x16 without separate uploads. Show Products dynamically overlays relevant catalog items onto your creative for personalized touch. And you can add animation to static images to capture attention and increase engagement in the feed. Moving on to question 2. How often is the creative refresh required? This is a constant balancing act, and we want to give you a clear framework to follow. We've built an actionable refresh framework based on mathematical thresholds, not guesswork. You can review your creative performance on a weekly cadence to look for these specific signals that tell you whether to pause, refresh, or scale. Let's look at 3 tiers. First, when to pause. Look out for the zero conversion peak where you spend significantly past your target CPA with zero sales. Also, watch for a frequency ceiling on cold prospecting audiences, or a severe CPA spike lasting 72 or more continuous hours. Second, when to refresh. Look for soft fatigue where CPA creeps up steadily over a 7-day window, or a CTR warning where your 7-day rolling CTR drops significantly below your account average. Also, watch for frequency warnings. Third, when to scale. If your ROAS is consistently above target for 72 or more hours, or you have unicorn matrix with exceptionally high CTR and lower than average CPM, and ensure your audience targeting is broad enough to absorb the additional budget. Also, we've come to learn that the hook is usually the fastest to fatigue. This can mean more frequent refreshes on your creative hooks to ensure creative freshness in the account. We've spoken about creative refreshes, but it is also crucial to give your creative room to perform. We recommend a minimum of 7 days for every fresh batch of creatives. Every edit you make to your ad account triggers a predictable 3-phase reset cycle. Phase 1 is pre-edit stability, where CPA is stable. Phase 2 is a short-term CPA spike as the algorithm explores new opportunities. Phase 3 is medium-term settling, where CPA finds its new level. If you make frequent edits, you create persistent instability because each new edit resets the spike cycle before the previous one has settled. The key takeaway: batch your edits together instead of spreading them throughout the day. This brings us to question 3. What is the recommended creative testing framework? How do we find the winners systematically? Testing should be systematic. Think of it as the R&D engine for your account. There are 2 key principles here. First, 10 to 15% rule. Dedicate at least 10 to 15% of your overall ad spend strictly to creative testing. Without consistent testing, your scaling campaigns are more likely to experience fatigue and underperform. Second, test concepts, not just formats. Systematic testing means isolating variables. Focus on finding a winning concept first by pitting different hooks, angles, or messages against each other. Once you identify the winning concept, then expand it across formats like UGC, static, video, carousel, or catalog. There are many creative ideation frameworks out there, including the hook starters that Edward went through earlier. And this is another one that you can also leverage on. It's a simple pick one from each role system that generates unique, testable concepts. You have 4 audience stages, from unaware to product aware. You have 8 angles, like leading with the problem, social proof, authority, or curiosity. And lastly, 4 structures, like problem, agitate, solve, or before, after, bridge. And that gives you 128 unique concepts combinations. This ensures your tests are generally distinct from one another and not just minor variations of the same idea. Let's walk through the 3-step process in detail using at-level testing feature. Step 1 is to formulate 5 genuinely distinct concepts. A great way to do this is by using the creative concept ideation menu we just looked at. For example, let's say as a business, you've already identified your target audience and the angle you want to take, but the main variable you want to test is the structure of the creative. As you can see in the example on the slide, we keep the audience constant, targeting people who are problem aware, and we keep the angle constant, leading with social proof. Because those 2 elements are locked in, we can then cleanly test the structure. We built 4 different creatives using 4 different structures: problem, agitate, solve, before, after, bridge, feature, advantage, benefit, and the 4 U's. This ensures your test is clean and the concepts are distinct. Step 2 is to test those concepts using at-level testing feature. You simply set them up using the built-in creative testing tool at the ad level in Ads Manager. Step 3 is to keep the winners running in the campaign. The beauty of this ad-level feature is that winning ads continue running seamlessly in your BAU campaign. There is no need to move them to a separate campaign, which means you preserve all the valuable learning and optimization data the algorithm has accumulated, completely avoiding a reset of the learning phase. Now that we have a creative testing framework in place, how do you know when a creative has won? Use these 3 graduation criteria. First, spend threshold. The creative should have either exited the learning phase with 50 conversions or spend 1 to 2 times your target CPA, depending on your individual business criteria. Second, performance. The creative must be performing at or below your testing CPA target. And this is important because your testing CPA target should be higher than your BAU targets, because testing campaigns typically have higher CPAs due to limited data and audience exploration. Third, duration. It needs to have run for at least 7 days with consistent results, evaluated on a 7-day average. When a creative meets all 3 thresholds, it's ready to scale, and you can graduate more than 1 creative concept as long as the creative meets your requirements. And finally, question 4. Why do ads with the higher CPA get majority of the spends? This is one of the most common frustrations we hear, and the answer is really important to understand. Let's look at the pacing graph to see the breakdown effect in action. Imagine Creative A ends up with a CPA of $1.46 and gets $450 in spend, while Creative B has a CPA of $1.10 but only gets $50. And the common question is, why is it that creative with a higher CPA ends up getting majority of the spends? Here's what happens over time. Step 1. The system starts by delivering to both creatives during the exploration phase. Step 2. Creative B starts cheaper, but its costs rise significantly as it scales. Step 3. The system detects an inflection point around day 4 and predicts that B's costs will keep rising. Step 4. It pivots the remaining budget to Creative A because A can sustain a better aggregate CPA at higher volumes. The system is optimizing for total outcome, not per unit cost. And we call this the breakdown effect. And here is the core principle. The pool of cheap inventory is small and limited. It depletes fast. To spend your full budget and drive total conversion volume, the algorithm must tap into larger, more expensive pools. Meta optimizes for maximum number of conversions, not the lowest average CPA. This is exactly why creative diversification matters. Different concepts reach different audience segments across both the small cheap pools and the large expensive pools. The goal is to build a diverse creative mix that engages every audience segment. Thank you so much for joining us at the Meta Performance Summit. We hope this framework gives you the clarity and confidence to systematically test, scale, and understand your creative performance on Meta. Remember, diversify your creatives, test systematically, give your ads room to perform, and trust the algorithm's delivery logic.